Here is Donald Trump. We talked about earlier how Obama lives rent-free in his head. This guy cannot get Barack Obama out of his head. Here he is at the, I believe, the Michigan or Detroit Economic Forum, and he's going off about Barack Obama winning the Nobel Prize and some more ridiculousness that if you can make it out, good luck.
Or named Obama, I would have had the Nobel Prize given him in 10 seconds. He got the Nobel Prize. He didn't even know what the hell he got it for. Remember, he got elected. Well, so did I. He got elected, and they announced he was getting the Nobel Prize. Remember, he said, "Oh, what did I do?" He didn't know what the hell he did. He got the Nobel Prize for doing nothing. For getting elected, but I got elected too. And, you know, if I think of that, we did something, the Abraham Accords, unprecedented. Nobody thought it was possible. And I'm not saying want or not. I'm just saying if it was anybody else, liberal, Democrat, they would have had it before the damn thing was even signed, you know. So there has to be fairness, and I don't care, but I'm not looking for it. I'm not.
He's absolutely looking for it.
I'm just saying that there's a lot of unfairness in this world, and I think
who listens to this guy? Seriously, I just need somebody. Explain it to me. Explain to me how you listen to that rambling and going, we want him to run the world. Because if you're the president of the United States, you're essentially not just running this country, but in a way, you are in charge of the entire world, because what happens in this country affects every other country in the world. If our economy is shot and gone, the rest of the world is shot and gone. There's not going to be an economy that is going to thrive if the economy in the United States is shot and gone. Just not happening. It was clear during COVID, if you followed anything that happened worldwide, once COVID hit, the United States economy took hits. And when the United States economy takes hits, the world economy takes hits. When it gets better, the world economy gets better. That's just what happens. We want this guy. We want this guy in charge. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you have Republican beliefs. In fact, I pine for the days of a smart Republican who we can look at and go, hey, I may not disagree, or I may not agree with his policies, his or her policies, but, you know, they're not looking to destroy the Constitution. They're not looking to destroy the democracy of this country. And they're not going to make the United States look like the biggest fools in the world stage. This is the guy that we are sending out to talk to Vladimir Putin. Are you kidding me? Vladimir Putin is dying, absolutely dying for this guy to be president. Do you know why? Because Putin is smart. Putin is a horrible, terrible human being. He is horrific, and Putin's dream, just like Osama bin Laden's dream, is to destroy the United States of America. Now, Putin knows that he could never destroy the United States of America militarily, because if he tried, we would wipe Russia out in half an hour. I know that's dramatic, but you understand what I'm saying. So the way Putin can do it is the way he did it back in 2016, is cause chaos, just like he's been doing basically, and his Russian counterparts have been doing for years now in this country. That's why this country hates each other so much. And it's not just because of Donald Trump. This is the work of Vladimir Putin. And this is not coming from Brian Rundle on a stupid YouTube show that has 500 followers. This is coming from our own intelligence agencies. They have stated numerous time and time again that Vladimir Putin has interfered in this country to sow chaos, and it has worked beautifully for him. And he wants Donald Trump to be the next president of the United States because he knows how stupid Donald Trump is. He knows how easily manipulated Donald Trump is. All you have to do is tell Donald Trump that he's the smartest person you've ever met. Vladimir Putin's okay with that because he knows to get what he wants, all he has to do is say, oh boy, thank God you're president because you're the best leader in the entire world, even better than me, Donald. I mean, you are so great that now Russia is going to be great because of you. Donald Trump will eat that up, and Vladimir Putin will be able to get whatever it is that he wants for him because Donald Trump is a weak, pathetic human being. And he's a horrible businessman. He's a terrible negotiator, and he's never been good at it. There's proof of that too. So how anybody wants this guy to be president, I'm just telling you, if you think this is one of these elections where one person wins and the other person doesn't and we're going to be fine, I caution you this time. It's not. And by the way, if you're a woman, how in the world, if you have daughters, if you're a man with a daughter, you're voting for this guy? Okay, we'll see. Anyway, here's another clip. I just want you to watch it. When it's over, if you have access to the comments or you want to send me an email later at runshousepodcast@gmail.com, just listen to the clip and explain to me what in the hell this guy is talking about. I have absolutely no idea. But again, people want him to be president.
Many countries, they do that. And then all of a sudden you hear that they're leaving Milwaukee or they're leaving wherever they may be located. It's very sad to see it.
Okay.
And it's so simple. I mean, you know.
By the way,
isn't like Elon with his rocket ships that land with.
This was a question about the economy, by the way.
Than 12 inches on the moon where they wanted to land. Or he gets the engines back. That was the first I realized. I said, who the hell did that? I saw engines about 3-4 years ago. These things were coming, cylinders, no wings, no nothing. And they're coming down very slowly, landing on a raft in the middle of the ocean someplace with a circle. Boom. Reminded me of the Biden circles that he used to have, right? He'd have 8 circles and he couldn't fill them up. But then I heard he beat us with the popular vote. I don't know. I don't know. Couldn't fill up the 8 circles. I always loved those circles. They were so beautiful. They were so beautiful to look at. In fact, the person that did them, that was the best thing about the level of that circle was great. But they couldn't get people, so they used to have the press stand in those circles because they couldn't get the people. Then I heard we lost. Oh, we lost.
I swear none of this video is edited. None of it.
No, we're never going to let that happen again. But we've been abused by other countries. We've been abused by our own politicians, really more than other countries. I can't.
The Biden circles and that somebody told them that they lost the popular vote and Elon landed thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm willing to give somebody a $5,000 if you can tell me exactly what the fuck this guy's talking about. What is he saying? What is he talking about? And this is not a one-off. First of all, I just played one clip. That's a second clip. I swear to you, I can pull up, I don't know, give me an over-under, 500 clips over the last, just this year. I can pull up hundreds of clips just this year that are just like this one. They kept for months and months and months. The reason why Joe Biden basically had to drop out of this race is because all anybody could do was talk about his cognitive decline and his age and that how he's losing it. After the debate, he didn't have a good debate, and it's because he's old. He had to get out of the race. Where is the talk about Donald Trump's cognitive decline and how old he is? There's a little bit here and there. I know the New York Times ran a huge piece, what was it, last week, about his cognitive decline. But I mean, shit, we're 3 weeks away from the election now at this point. This is something that we should have been talking about for years because he is mentally not there. He is gone. And we're going to let this guy be in charge of the country and in charge of the world. We're going to let this guy take phone calls from Vladimir Putin. I mean, what is going on here? I just don't understand. Here is Donald Trump talking about Kamala Harris and her 60 Minutes interview. Again, I don't know what is he talking about.
To watching her on 60 Minutes and on watching that horrible statement that she made. They call it a word salad. I don't really like those words because it was really worse than that.
No, because you don't like salads.
But after watching that, I don't think she's interested in 33. I don't think she has any idea what's happening, okay? I think she's dumber than hell. And we've had enough of that for 4 years. We're not going to have it any longer.
Yeah, if you had a kid, I don't know, 10, 11, 12-year-old kid, and let's say they were doing something in school where they were playing government, and your kid, they had a night assembly where that night they were going to name the class president, and the class president had to get up and do a speech. And your kid got up there and called the other person dumb and said, she's really a dumb person. My guess, if you were a good parent, that you would have talked to your child and say, we do not do that. And either you are punished now, or the next time you do something like that, you're going to be punished, because that's not who we are. We are better than that. We are more mature than that. This is a guy who is close to 80 years old and running for president of the United States, and he's calling his opponent stupid. And he doesn't even do it in a manner that sounded sort of with authority. It sounded childish the way he said it. And I said this now, this is the third clip I've played of him. And after the third clip, I'm going to say again, this is who some people want to be the president of the United States. I want to continue to press. If you are a Republican, a real Republican, and you feel like Kamala Harris is not for you, I'm okay with that. That's fine. But if you think that this person is for you, you think this is the person you want to represent the country and represent you, I promise you, this is not the guy. He is going to wind up destroying this country. Again, I know it sounds like hyperbole, but I feel pretty confident that if Donald Trump is the president of the United States, we are going to see a decline in this country on a level that is not something that people are going to be pleased about. And at that point, it's going to be too late, and it's going to take years and maybe decades to recover from. So I hope that you keep that in mind, and maybe not just listen to me, but to do a little bit more research before you go out and you make your final vote. The final clip here is Donald Trump is in Detroit. He needs Michigan in order to have a chance to win, because really at the end of the day, what it comes down to is those Rust Belt states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. If Kamala Harris wins those three states, regardless of the margin, doesn't matter if she wins by that much, if she wins by 0.01 points in all three of those states, this election's over. She wins. That's really what it comes down to. And Donald Trump is in Detroit, and when you're in the particular state, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the voters in that state to listen to you and to vote for you. Well, he happened to be in the city of Detroit and gives a warning to the people about, if Kamala Harris wins, just exactly what this country is going to turn into. And keep in mind, he's in Detroit, Michigan.
I don't think anything that we're talking about today is high on her list. The whole country is going to be like, you want to know the truth? It'll be like Detroit. Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president. You're going to have a mess on your hands.
I'll tell you what, that's a hell of a strategy, to walk into the city that you're trying to get people to vote for you in, because Detroit has, I would imagine, the largest population of any city in the state of Michigan. That the strategy is to say that if Kamala Harris is going to win the presidency, that the country is going to be like your city. Now, let's unpack that for a second. The people in Detroit do not think that their city is the piece of shit that he's trying to make it out to be. So one, that's offensive to them as the people who live there, but he's also telling them that I think that your city is a piece of shit, and that if Kamala Harris wins, that the rest of the country is going to be like your piece of shit city. And again, heck of a strategy. And what concerns me is if you are sitting in Detroit and you have somebody to your face tell you that you are a piece of shit, your city's a piece of shit, and you go, yeah, I'm going to vote for that guy. I don't know. The psychology behind it, we said before, there are going to be studies for decades of the psychology of the Trump voter once this is all said and done. And what I am hoping that in 25 days, that this will all be said and done. And that once Donald Trump loses this election, which he's going to lose, I'm just here to tell you, and I say this with confidence, I don't care what the polls are saying. I don't care how the media is trying to scare you. I don't care what Twitter is trying to say. In fact, it is clear Elon Musk is doing everything he can to sow disinformation on the site that he owns. We saw the clips of him just on the show we played on Tuesday. And he said himself to Tucker Carlson, if Kamala Harris wins this election and Donald Trump doesn't, I'm fucked. He alluded about going to prison for some particular reason. Now, I can guarantee you Kamala Harris is going to have nothing to do with sending Elon Musk to prison, but there's something that he's afraid about. And the richest man in the world who owns a social media site, I promise you, is rigging the game on his own site for anybody that's on it. And he's basically playing Putin himself. He is making sure that the information that he wants on that site is on there, and that the information that he doesn't want on his site, not fully because he can't fully do it, but to some extent, he will be suppressing it. There's just absolutely no question about it. I read an article today about Elon Musk and his role in this upcoming election. And the fact that the richest man in the world wants Donald Trump to win should probably tell you something. The person that makes the most money, and generally the multi-billionaires that make the most money, they are giving the money to Donald Trump. They want him to win. What does that tell you? Do you think this guy is on your side? I promise you he's not. His only one accomplishment during his presidency was a tax cut for the richest of people in the country. And he wants to cut taxes more for them under his next presidency. He has said that. He has been on video and on audio saying that he will cut taxes again for the richest people in the country. Kamala Harris wants to raise those taxes on those people, not on you, not on me. If you actually are going to believe that what Donald Trump and the Elon Musk and all these people want you to believe, Kamala Harris's plan is not to raise taxes on any of us. Her plan is to raise the taxes, not up, but back to where they were, to a place. And in fact, she's going to want to raise, her plan is to raise them to a place that was even lower than what Joe Biden wanted to raise them to. So she's at least looking for a compromise, which I still think you should raise the taxes even higher. But what she wants to do is raise the taxes on these multi-billionaires. And the reason why she wants to do that is because she wants to be able to use that tax money to pay for programs that help the rest of the country. You do have noble and good people, billionaires like a Mark Cuban, who comes out and goes, yeah, you know what? She's going to raise taxes on me, and it is going to cost me more money. But you know what? I will always be fine. I will never be hurting as long as I am alive in this country. So if it means raising my taxes so we can give the people in this country more, because I would never be able to make this kind of money in any other country. Well, some other countries like Saudi Arabia and stuff like that, but you have to be in certain positions to be able to do that. I'm talking about just as a capitalist and a free economic society, that you can only do that here in this country. And Mark Cuban is grateful to this country to be able to do that. And Mark Cuban is grateful enough to be able to give back to the United States and the people who live here who might not otherwise be as fortunate as he is. Doesn't take away from his hard work. He worked very hard, but a lot of people in these positions didn't really work all that hard. I promise you, Donald Trump did not work a day in his life. Not a day in his life. Everything that he's handed his entire life has been handed to him. Everything. And again, I've said this a million times. If you truly care to know the truth about Donald Trump, there are plenty of documentaries. There are plenty of books. Well, how do you know they're not lying? There are laws in this country. It's called libel laws. So you are not allowed to print. You are not allowed to write books. You're not allowed to write articles about somebody with zero facts or lies. You're not allowed to do it, because what happens, well, first of all, you can do it, but if you publish it, then you open yourself up to massive lawsuits. So newspapers like the New York Times, who put out, I believe it was like a 4,000-word essay on Donald Trump in, I think it was 2021, 2022, wrote this gigantic article about how Donald Trump had made his money and had swindled millions of dollars out of his family, out of other people, how he, there are articles about how he stole money, or basically suckered people out of their money, people who worked on his hotels, people who worked for his hotels. What an awful, terrible businessman he was, and just what an awful, terrible human being he was. And Donald Trump is the most litigious person on the planet. If there was something in any of these articles that was unfounded or untrue, he would have sued them in 2 seconds. And you know the reason why he can't sue the people who just wrote this book called Lucky Loser, which is like, I don't know, 500 pages of him being a terrible businessman and ripping people off? He can't sue them. You know why? Because they have the receipts. They have the proof. And his lawsuit would go nowhere. Just like the 60 lawsuits that he tried to say that the election was stolen. Why are people not understanding that this guy's a lifelong con man and grifter, and he's playing you? He doesn't care about you. He doesn't. And he's making fools out of people who are wearing t-shirts, hats, flying flags, and making their entire personality about this person. And it's sad to see. And I've got people in my life whose entire personalities are based on this person. Makes me sad. It makes me really sad. And, that's why I truly hope that when he loses this election, that this whole movement of MAGA goes away. And it's going to take a long time. It's not going to be quick. But somehow, I hope the Republican Party is able to hit a reset button and say, we gave it our best shot. We tried to do everything we could to be a fascist, authoritarian type government, the kind that we wanted, the kind that is ruled by white Christianity. Gave it our best shot. The American people said no. So I don't know what our path is to do it anymore, because I don't know who the next Donald Trump is, because Donald Trump was the perfect empty vessel for them. He's an empty-headed idiot. So all they had to do was tell this loud-mouthed idiot who will say anything, didn't care what the ramifications were, that he would say anything, and he got enough people to get so psyched up about him that they bought the hats, the t-shirts, and bought into the fact that he was a good businessman, great president, great leader, even though he did nothing. Do they have that anymore? Who are they going to get to replace Donald Trump to be able to do that? I don't know who they have to do that. Ron DeSantis? Ron DeSantis, we already pointed out earlier in the show, he's a big pussy. Ron DeSantis, Ron DeSantis put on, without question, the saddest and the worst presidential campaign I've ever seen. And you think he's going to come back from those ashes? No chance. He's got no chance. So I don't know who else you're going to be able to get to do it, but let's just hope that it goes away sooner than later so we can get back to a normalized country. Again, if another Republican wins the presidency of the United States, it's okay as long as it's a regular person who understands democracy, but just has a different opinion on how the country should be run. But if it's somebody who is a know-nothing, lifelong lying con man, who is a convicted felon and who is liable for sexual assault, you're telling me this is the guy that should be president of the United States, and not just president of the United States, but a person somebody worships, people who talk to me about God and Jesus. They're telling me I love God, I love Jesus, I love Trump. Doesn't add up. None of it makes sense. And I'm just hoping we get to a place in this country again where things start to make sense. I've said it once, I'll say it a million times to anybody out there watching this who thinks that I'm just all 100% pro-Democrat, liberal, and everything needs to be Democrat and liberal. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I believe that there is a strong place in this country for a real Republican Party that is an opposing side to a Democrat or liberal. I promise you, if the Democrats and liberals got so incredibly batshit crazy that they want to shut down the Constitution and start all over again and go based on a religion or go based on just one particular set of standards, I'd be out. And again, don't come at me if you're going to sit here and try to tell me that the Democrats are already doing that. Why? Because they don't give a shit about Pride Month showing up in Target, because they're not shooting up beer cans because some transgender person held it up and did a 30-second ad on her own channel about Bud Light. I mean, this is not the same thing. So you could sit there all day and try to hit me with that nonsense. I'm not buying into it. So don't waste your time.